Harry Sumter, aka Max Fleming, the one-time international best-selling author, hit the send key on his laptop. He had just sent out pre-print copies of his latest thriller, from fighter to writer to several literary critics. Their reviews held the power to either turn a book into an international bestseller, as they had his first book, Left Behind Seeking Revenge, or send it diving headfirst into the pit of oblivion, which they had done to his last two books. They had called them boring, predictable, and a waste of ink. His latest book, From Fighter to Writer, took Harry nearly 3 years to write and many a night editing and re-editing. It also had caused him to lose his long-term partner, Belinda. She had had enough of Harry working throughout the night and sleeping away the days. Plus, she was 15 years his junior and had the sex drive of a rabbit on heat, and when Harry's sex drive stalled, she drove off, taking her cute little arse and sexy lingerie with her. Harry desperately needed this book to be a success. He was down to his last £3,000 of his publisher's initial advance, and if he were to see the next installment, he would need to get at least a couple of good reviews. His fate, finances, and relationship with his publishers relied on the reviews. If his publisher refused to pay the second installment, Harry might have to go cap in hand to his estranged wife Penelope for a loan, a transaction that always came with a proviso, usually in the form of him escorting her to some depraved sex party. Penelope had a weird fascination with sex, domination, and various strap-on toys. It was one of the reasons he had left her. Coming from a wealthy family, Penelope used her vast wealth to feed her depravity. Harry closed the lid on his laptop. What to do now? He wondered. After completing his last few books, Harry usually ordered takeout food, cracked open a few bottles of fizz, whilst Belinda put on one of her many sexy lingerie sets, and they would then shag the hell out of each other. Tonight, though, with no Belinda, I will have to think of another way to celebrate the completion of my latest bestseller, Harry thought to himself as he made his way to the kitchen. He had been so engrossed with the final edit of the book, he hadn't eaten for 2 days. Now he was absolutely Hank Marvin, starving. He opened the fridge door. Bollocks! He was met with the sight of a half bottle of solidified milk, a small block of cheese that was green with mould, and a piece of curled-up pizza that he knew had been there for at least 10 days. He picked up the pizza slice and tapped it against the fridge's glass shelf. As suspected, the pizza shattered into pieces. He looked into the bread bin. There was only green bread that stunk in there. He opened the kitchen's first-floor window and lobbed the offensively smelling bread into his next-door neighbour's garden, the one that held the constantly barking Jack Russell Albert. If it hadn't been for you and your stupid reggae-loving bastard of an owner, Cyril, I would have completed my book in half the time, you little shit. He watched the dumb shit of a dog tucking into the mouldy bread. Sensing Harry's presence, the dog looked up at Harry and growled a little before barking like a bitch at him. Harry picked up and chucked a cracked bar of soap at it, catching Albert smack between the eyes. Harry laughed out loud as the now yelping in pain Albert sulked off back into his owner's house.